Once a lush planet with green valleys and cool rivers, the interstellar planet Xylaris had now become an endless desert. Lasara, the princess of Xylaris, was willing to risk everything to save her family. Their only hope lay in a legendary water source, a hidden oasis. Finding this oasis could save not just her family, but her people as well. However, the water sources were controlled by powerful clans, and reaching this oasis would require a dangerous journey. The royal family and their close circle had been largely scattered due to drought and clan wars. Trusted soldiers or allies were either dead or had been captured by the clans. Lasara had no one left around her to help, forcing her to undertake this mission alone. This also presented a test of her courage and leadership qualities. Despite her young age, Lasara was known for her bravery, intelligence, and determination. Her family believed she could accomplish this mission successfully. Being a princess made her uniquely suited for this challenging task, as the honor of her family and the responsibility of the crown were upon her shoulders. Lasara was determined to act with the awareness of this responsibility and do everything in her power not to disappoint her family. During her journey, Lasara sought refuge in a cave to rest. However, a surprise awaited her. As she stepped into the depths of the cave, she walked through the surrounding darkness and silence. The cold air and the earthy smell gave her a sense of inner unease. The cave walls were covered with natural shapes formed over time, making her feel as if they reflected traces of the past. As she ventured further into the darkness, Lasara's eyes adjusted, and she noticed the area ahead. In a corner, on the dirt floor, lay a human figure. This figure seemed to belong to a young and strong soldier. Lasara cautiously approached and could clearly see the soldier's face. The soldier, weary and exhausted, had rested his head on a rock and was sleeping. His weapons and some basic equipment were scattered beside him. The sleeping soldier's face bore signs of fatigue and struggle, yet also held a peaceful expression. His head was resting on a pillow, his eyes closed, deeply asleep. Lasara studied the soldier carefully. His sleep made her feel the silence and safety of the moment. Fatigue made her momentarily forget the dangers and hardships around. But she knew this peace would be short-lived. She took a careful breath and tried not to make a sound to avoid waking the soldier. As she stood beside him in the dark, Lasara had many questions in her mind. What was this young soldier doing in the cave? Who was he? Then, a thought crossed Lasara's mind. While escaping from the clans, perhaps this soldier could offer her an opportunity. However, Lasara's thoughts were interrupted by a slight movement from the soldier. The soldier stirred lightly in his sleep and slowly opened his eyes. Lasara took a deep breath, turned around, and quietly retreated to the corner. The soldier was about to wake from his deep sleep. The young soldier, as he opened his eyes, noticed the surrounding silence and did not immediately see Lasara was there. Lasara tried to retreat without drawing his attention, but the soldier waking up caused a moment of hesitation in her. The soldier lifted his head, looked around, and slowly sat up. His eyes drifted towards the corner where Lasara was. When Lasara's eyes met the soldier's, there was a moment of understanding on both sides. Lasara slightly nodded her head and bravely made eye contact with the soldier. The soldier took a few seconds to get used to Lasara's presence. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice slightly hoarse from the deep sleep he had woken up from. "And what are you doing here?" he added, looking carefully at Lasara. Karen was on alert to see if she was a threat, but Lasara's tired and desperate state caught his attention. Lasara retreated into the dark corner of the cave and asked, "Who are you? Why are you hiding here?" "My name is Karen," he said, scanning Lasara with his eyes. "I have a mission on this planet. What is your purpose here?" Lasara took a deep breath and decided not to hide the truth. "I am Lasara, the princess of this planet," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "My family is dying of thirst, and the clans control the water sources. I must find water to save them," she said. Karen understood the difficult situation the princess was in and thought for a few seconds. Karen realized that the dangers Lasara was facing actually overlapped with his own mission. The water sources controlled by powerful clans had a significant impact on the future and balance of this planet. If this situation was not brought under control, it could lead to a crisis that could spread to other regions of the planet and even to other planets. By helping Lasara, Cairn would fulfill his mission and also stop an evil. Moreover, Cairn, as both a soldier and a human, had a sense of honor and justice. Lasara's courage and determination to save her family made Cairn respect her. Ignoring the call for help from an innocent was against his nature. The clans controlling the water is a big problem, he said, determination shining in his eyes. Would you like me to come with you? You shouldn't be alone in this battle.
I can help you, he said.
When Lasara heard Cairn's offer, a glimmer of hope appeared in her eyes. If you can really help me, I would gladly accept it, she said. But why do you want to help me? What could possibly concern you here? She added. Cairn slung his weapon over his shoulder and took a step towards Lasara. The future of this planet is linked to my mission, he said with a slight smile. But most importantly, I want to do what is right. I won't leave you to the clans, he said. Lasara looked into Cairn's eyes and felt his sincerity. Then let's walk this path together, she said with determination. We must find the water for my family, she said. The soldier's face was frozen in a firm and determined expression. This desert is a death trap. There are clans who kill each other for water resources. This journey is dangerous. But you have courage, I can see that, he said. Lasara sensed a softness behind the hardness in the man's eyes. My name is Cairn. I will protect you, but you must know that this journey will be tough, Cairn added. Lasara was about to make the hardest decision of her life. To save her family, she had to trust this stranger soldier. They looked each other in the eye, and Lasara shook Cairn's hand, making her decision. Let's get started, she said. Cairn nodded approvingly at Lasara's courage. Then be careful, he said, because in the depths of this desert, there are hidden dangers, not just drought. As the two moved through the desert, Lasara's heart was filled with both fear and hope. With every step, the tension of not knowing what awaited them quickened their pace. Cairn kept moving, constantly scanning his surroundings, staying alert to detect any dangers. Lasara trusted Cairn's leadership and followed behind him. After a while, as they moved under the scorching sun, Cairn suddenly stopped. Lasara looked at him in confusion. Why did we stop? She asked. Cairn pointed to a spot ahead with his hand. There's some movement up ahead, he said, his voice carrying a tone of warning. When Lasara looked where he pointed, she saw something moving swiftly among the sands in the distance. Lasara looked at Cairn anxiously. What are we going to do? She asked. Cairn answered calmly. We will hide. We don't know what it is right now, but we must be prepared. Stay quiet and follow me. Lasara moved quietly, following Cairn's instructions. They hid behind a rock amid the sands. Holding her breath, Lasara watched the rapidly approaching shadow. Suddenly, a group of armed clan soldiers emerged from the sands. Cairn immediately signaled to Lasara and silently told her to retreat. Lasara looked at the soldiers in fear, but she trusted Cairn's leadership. Cairn whispered quietly to Lasara, "These soldiers belong to the Zephyra clan. We must avoid confrontation with them. They are superior in numbers and have heavy weapons. If we pass them now, we can cross through a less guarded area ahead." Lasara, overcoming her fear, nodded. "But what if they notice us?" she asked. Cairn answered calmly, "Then we will have to fight. But that should be the last resort." Fortunately, the soldiers of the Zephyra clan continued on their way without noticing them. Cairn and Lasara held their breath and waited for the soldiers to move away. After the danger passed, Cairn quietly stood up and motioned to Lasara. "We can move on now," he said. "But we must be much more careful. This desert is not just sand and sun. There are hidden dangers at every corner here." Lasara continued walking behind Cairn, appreciating his determination and leadership. However, she was aware of the greater dangers awaiting them in the depths of this desert. This journey was not only a struggle for survival but also an adventure that would test her own courage and determination. Lasara was willing to risk everything to save her family and people. And on this journey, she had to trust a warrior like Cairn. As the sun slowly set, they continued walking in the coolness of the desert. The silence of the desert and the endless horizons caused Lasara's thoughts to scatter. She asked Cairn, "Do you think we can find this oasis?" Cairn, with his gaze fixed on the path ahead, replied, "We must. We have no other choice." Their journey would continue into the night, and Lasara was ready to do everything she could for the future of her family and her planet. Her courageous heart was still beating with determination, while Cairn's experienced and solid leadership was the greatest strength they would have on this tough journey. With each step, the determination of both grew stronger, and their journey in the desert gained a deeper meaning. It wasn't just about finding an oasis, it was also about finding themselves and realizing what they could achieve together. Thus, Lasara and Cairn began a journey full of danger, challenge, and hope, one step closer to saving Zylaris. As the darkness of the night cast a blanket of silence over the desert, Lasara and Cairn searched for ways to delve deeper into its vastness. The cool air of the desert night had erased the scorching heat of the day, but it had been replaced by another kind of cold, a chilling uncertainty filled with lurking dangers. Every small sound that echoed among the sands made Lasara's heart skip a beat, causing her to tread more cautiously. "We need to rest somewhere," Cairn said, his eyes scanning the rocky formations around them. Night is when the desert is at its most deadly. Predators and the Zephyr clan are most active at this hour. Lasara nodded in agreement. She trusted Cairn, but the unease within her grew with every passing second. "We could hide behind those rocks," Cairn suggested, pointing to a spot with his eyes. "That spot might protect us until morning." When they reached the rocks, Lasara collapsed to the ground. The exhaustion from the day weighed heavily on her body, but her mind wouldn't let her rest. She thought about how her family was struggling to survive under the grip of the drought. The thought brought tears to her eyes, but she was determined. She wouldn't cry. She needed to be strong right now. Cairn sat down next to Lasara. He remained silent for a moment, but when he heard the princess's quiet sobs, he turned to her. "I know this journey will be tough," Cairn said, his voice unexpectedly gentle. "But you have to be strong, Lasara. Your family needs you." Lasara wiped her tears and nodded. "I am strong," she said, her voice shaky but resolute. "I will complete this journey, no matter the cost." As Cairn admired Lasara's resolve, his eyes caught movement in the distance. "Hide," he said suddenly in a low voice. Lasara, confused, looked around, but when she saw the seriousness in Cairn's eyes, she quickly moved to hide behind a rock. Cairn quietly drew his rifle and began to observe their surroundings carefully. Figures emerging from the shadows signaled the approach of a swiftly approaching danger. Cairn recognized them. They were scouts from the Zephyr clan. He knew how ruthless the conflicts between clans could be and couldn't let Lasara be captured here. Even if they tried to retreat quietly, it was almost impossible to escape the sharp eyes of the scouts. Cairn signaled to Lasara and spoke softly. "Stay here and make no sound," he said as he prepared his rifle. As the scouts approached the rocks, Cairn's breath quickened. Lasara saw the focused expression on his face. Without a moment of hesitation, Cairn shot the first scout in the chest. The gunshot shattered the desert silence, and the scouts immediately went on high alert. The other two scouts quickly drew their weapons and began firing, but Cairn had already moved to a different position behind another rock. "Lasara, run!" Cairn shouted as he fired. "We need to get out of here, now." Despite her fear, Lasara obeyed Cairn's commands and started running swiftly. Her heart was pounding wildly, but her steps were determined. She needed to stay by Cairn's side, as her chances of survival in this desert without him were nearly non-existent. She would not let fear take over her will. One of the scouts located Cairn and fired at him. Bullets struck the rocks, and Lasara turned back in fear. Cairn quickly took down the other scout, but the third was dangerously close. Understanding that Cairn was in a difficult situation, Lasara moved to help him. She managed to dislodge a rock, causing it to fall on the scout. The scout momentarily lost his balance, giving Cairn just enough time to take a shot. Cairn looked at Lasara and said, "Good job," with a slight smile. But the danger wasn't over yet. We need to move quickly. These scouts aren't alone. Others could be nearby. Lasara took a deep breath and nodded. Together, they began to run through the darkness of the night. With every step, another threat could be lurking beneath the sands. But this time, they were not alone. They trusted each other now. As Lasara and Karen approached the clan-controlled territories, a wave of tension settled over them. Karen moved strategically with each step, remaining alert for any possible attack. While passing through the clan territories, they would face a journey filled with giant sand snakes and hidden traps. As Karen taught Lasara strategic moves and how to avoid enemy traps, the fear within her slowly gave way to determination. As they set up camp in a place they found safe, Lasara shared her family's history with Karen. Zylaris was once a place of peace, Lasara said, her eyes welling up with tears. But the drought changed everything. Now we fight just for water. Karen nodded, understanding her pain. Our world faced a similar fate. War made people ruthless. But we must fight to survive, Karen said. The next day, they reached the territory controlled by Valius, the commander under Queen Zorith. Their goal was to defeat Valius and seize control of the water source he commanded. Karen presented a plan to Lasara. Valius will do anything for power. We must lure him into a trap. Tonight, we will sneak into his camp and launch a strategic attack, Karen said. Lasara trusted Karen's plan. At midnight, they infiltrated the Zephyr camp and managed to reach Valius's tent. However, Valius had anticipated their arrival and prepared a trap. Karen and Lasara found themselves surrounded by Valius's soldiers. "What is a foreigner like you doing in Zylaris?" Valius asked mockingly. Karen took a step forward without lowering his weapon. "My purpose here is simple," Karen said, "to protect this princess and stop tyrants like you." Inspired by Karen's courage, Lasara stood up to Valius. "The people need water, Valius. You must end this war," Lasara said firmly. Valius considered for a moment, but there was no sign of mercy in his eyes. "Water means power. The strong survive, and the weak perish," Valius declared. At that moment, Karen discreetly pulled out a small grenade from his pocket, distracting Valius. An explosion echoed, and Karen grabbed Lasara's arm, pulling her to safety. Then, they neutralized the remaining Zephyr soldiers and incapacitated Valius. Lasara and Karen stepped into the desert in the blistering heat of the sun. The dry, dusty winds carried the sharp scent of the desert to their noses with every step. Karen examined the map in Lasara's hand, which marked the locations of water sources and clan territories. Their goal was to reach the nearest water source and traverse this region controlled by the clans. Karen carefully looked around and nodded slightly. "There could be clan warriors hidden here," he said. "But it's likely they've arrived here before us. We must be swift and silent." Karen and Lasara began to advance cautiously, hiding behind the surrounding rocks. After quietly moving for about an hour, Karen suddenly spotted a group of clan warriors. The clan warriors were patrolling around a water source guarded by a group of aliens. Karen and Lasara were hidden behind a rock where they could observe without being seen. Karen formulated a plan while observing the warriors. "I'll leave you behind this rock. While I distract them, you can grab the water source," he explained. "This will at least give you a chance to get the water." Lasara nodded in understanding. "All right," she said, summoning her courage. "But be careful. We can't afford any mistakes." Karen left Lasara behind and moved silently, approaching the warriors. The clan warriors were instinctively cautious of their surroundings, and they must not detect Karen's presence. Karen carefully advanced, hiding behind the surrounding rocks. Suddenly, Karen caught the attention of a warrior who started looking around, drawing his weapon. Karen quickly emerged from his hiding place and moved swiftly to incapacitate the warrior. He quietly laid the warrior's body on the ground and retreated. Meanwhile, Lasara approached the water source. The water source was located within a guarded area protected by the clan warriors. Lasara opened the lid of the water source and began filling a few small containers. Just then, a warrior noticed Lasara's presence and quickly moved into action. Lasara began carefully transporting the water without panicking while filling the containers. Noticing the approaching warrior, Karen quickly moved into action and performed a maneuver to intercept the warrior. Karen threw a mass at the warrior and incapacitated him. Then, he rushed to Lasara's side. "Did you manage to get the water?" Karen asked as he approached Lasara, checking the containers. Lasara confirmed that the containers were full and that they had collected quite a bit of water. "Yes, but there's a problem. The warriors will return."
"We need to move fast," she said.
Karen and Lasara quickly moved, passing between the rocks. However, the warriors had noticed and were following them. A great chase began in the middle of the desert. Karen tried to escape quickly, protecting Lasara. They tried to avoid the warriors by hiding behind the surrounding rocks. Finally, Karen and Lasara lost their pursuers by hiding behind a hill.
Karen was out of breath.
Lasara and Karen ventured deep into the desert, approaching the territories controlled by enemy clans. Eventually, they reached the main clan's territory, where the water source was located. The clan stronghold was surrounded by high walls and guarded by a large military force. Lasara and Karen knew they had to reach the center, where Queen Zorith, a powerful warrior who controlled the planet's water sources, resided. As they tried to sneak into the clan's inner areas, an alarm blared from beyond the walls. "Follow me," Karen said, grabbing Lasara's hand and leading her down a side passage. "It looks like our plans have been discovered. Now, we need to find an escape route." However, finding a way out was not easy. The clan's soldiers began to surround them. Lasara and Karen were forced to neutralize several clan warriors. Karen fought as Lasara's protector. The soldiers were swiftly subdued, taken aback by Karen's strategic skills and sharp combat abilities. While hiding in a corner, a group of clan warriors approached Lasara. She quickly sprang into action, using her shield and sword to fight. Each strike took down a warrior. The blue light on her sword glowed with every blow, showcasing her determination in the battle. Karen rushed to Lasara's side, assisting her in fending off the warriors. "I need to stay behind you. Be careful," Karen said as he protected Lasara. Each strike and maneuver created a rhythm between the two. Slowly, they continued to advance, incapacitating the clan soldiers. Finally, Lasara and Karen reached the clan's center and confronted Queen Zorith. Clad in massive armor, Zorith was a formidable figure. She held a large spear, her eyes carefully observing Lasara and Karen. "Your courage is commendable," Zorith said, her voice deep and strong. "But controlling this water does not give you the right to rule this planet. Therefore, I must stop you." Karen turned to Lasara and said, "This is your fight, but I am here with you." Lasara nodded, showing her gratitude to Karen. The battle began. Lasara defended herself against Zorith's powerful spear, countering with sharp moves. Every spear thrust clashed against Lasara's shield, but her skills withstood the blows. Karen, meanwhile, fought the remaining clan warriors, skillfully countering their attacks. The warriors around him fell one by one, impressed by his swift and strategic movements. Karen skillfully wielded his sword, neutralizing his enemies. At that moment, something unexpected happened. Lasara's soldiers had secretly infiltrated Queen Zorith's territory and suddenly appeared amidst the battle. The most trusted soldiers of Lasara's family were now fighting against the clan's warriors. "What? How did this happen?" Lasara exclaimed in surprise. "My family's soldiers are here." The soldiers rushed to Lasara and Karen's side, providing support. With excellent coordination, Lasara's soldiers broke the numerical advantage of Zorith's forces. With this unexpected help, Lasara and Karen gathered strength to deliver the final blow to Queen Zorith. Lasara swung her sword in one swift motion, disarming Zorith's spear and incapacitating her. Zorith fell to the ground, surrendering. At the end of the battle, Lasara and Karen turned to each other, exhausted but filled with victory. Lasara saw Karen's wounded but heroic struggle. Karen looked gently at Lasara. "We did it," he said. Lasara approached Karen and said, "Thank you. Trusting you meant a lot to me." Karen smiled softly at Lasara. "It meant a lot to me too. I knew we could achieve anything together, he replied. I hope you had a good time. If you like my story, do not forget to comment and subscribe to my channel. Goodbye, see you in the next story.